So today's discussion is going to be on how the cell phones are between us all, and not in a good way. I've been saving this for a while because I didn't know how to present it. I apologize for the wind. It's just, we're going to have to deal with it. Last fall, around October, I took upon myself kind of a social experiment where I was finding myself like my previous discussions about how to find friends or make friends, and so I decided to focus on the friends. And so what I did is I said, okay, if I can't find anyone because I'm not looking online, and my environment isn't conducive to meeting people, then I'll make my environment conducive, or what I think would be conducive. And so what I did for 6 weeks during the pleasant fall weather, like really nice, like just wonderful evenings, like 70, 75 degrees, really nice, between 4 and 7 on Thursday nights, for 6 weeks, I hosted a picnic, just an impromptu picnic on my driveway, on the apron of my driveway, this outside the garage, in the open, and people walk by normally. So I chose this as a purposeful location to see if I could engage people in friendly discussion, in a not, I felt like putting a sign out saying, please talk to me. But what I did is I made a little picnic, like I've got here. I got the table, and you've seen me do before, like at the table, and actually I should show you here. I had the carpet out on the driveway, another carpet, and I brought my amplifiers and my big stereo speakers out, and I set up. This is in the driveway, mind you. The table was set with some nice food. I had the amplifiers out, the vinyl, a turntable. And it was all very come hither, It was very cool. I put the 4 speakers out, so it was actually like really cool. Like I was trying to think, like, if someone had never seen a big stereo like this, they might be interested. And if they've never had like 4 speaker sound, they might be interested. Maybe they've never seen a real phonograph, in person. And maybe they've seen never seen a real person with an actual phonograph. And so it was very, in my mind, it was very very open and come hither, and I had the table set with nice foods, like finger foods. Like if I had put out like lasagna, I imagine that people would be, it was kind of hotter, so I did lasagna would be like sloppy, and people might think like, did he cook it or something? So I did things that were packaged, like little bags of chips, little candies, seltzers, kind of like an average picnic, like a birthday party. Someone might do at a birthday party, and they don't know what the kids want. And then for the adults, I got some really good bread, really good balsamic vinegar and oil, and like salami and cheese. Just a really nice spread, in my opinion. Actually, not even in my opinion, just like absolutely nice. And the point was that it was pretty much a failure. And you might think like, oh, why did you do this? And I would be like, well, I kind of knew it was going to be a failure, but back to the sense of self, this is a very Dan thing to do. Like this is essential Dan, which is, I think, important to practice. It doesn't mean that everyone will appreciate it, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but I really believed in this. Like I actually believed that I was setting a table for people who could maybe not be my friends, but could have a friendly discussion, just like nice weather kind of stuff. And of the people who came by, only one was kind of an unprompted, age-appropriate couple, my age. I've known them. They've lived down the street, and they walked past, and I said hi. And I said, come on over, and then they kept walking, and it was so weird. And then I said, hey, I got the phonograph out. You guys want to, play your, I've got like Stevie Wonder and Dobie Gray and Ray Charles. I got all these great discs, right? I'm not playing heavy metal or something, which would be lovely. Anyway, so only then, after I beckoned twice, did the couple come over and kind of tentatively, like kind of fearfully, kind of look at the phonograph, and that was like the first week, and then they never came back again. And this was their normal walking time. I think they actually avoided. I think they went around in the neighborhood to avoid this. And I wasn't being like salesman-y, like, you know, got a brochure in my hand, like, hey. I was just like very, you know, open, like kind of like a sample platter at the mall, you know, even though I'm not selling anything, you know. And the other target group or target situation was a young boy came by, probably like 11 or so, and he lives in the neighborhood, obviously, and he goes back and forth on his scooter, and he was on his phone playing music, and I beckoned to him and said, hey, listen, you want to listen to the phonograph? And he said, oh yeah. And he kind of came over real tentative, like a, you know, like a deer, not sure if I'm gonna like jump on him or stuff. And this is a kid I've been in this neighborhood for 2.5 years, you know, and I haven't eaten anyone yet. You know, I've hid the bodies so well they don't know. And so he came over. He was, you know, he's a sweet kid, and I didn't like probe. You know, I wasn't like overtly too friendly. I was just trying to like create environment, and so he wasn't interested in the phonograph. He was interested in plugging the amplifier into his phone. I was like, okay, great, we'll plug it in, and you know, it's a big amplifier, big sound, and so he played some of his favorite hits, and that was great. His eyes lit up, and that was the goal, just to have a good time, listen to music, no big deal. This is out in the open, you know, this isn't like, you know, pedophile grooming. You know, everyone was right there, you know. It's like, if there's a problem, it's that guy, you know. And so the kid, his eyes lit up, and he came by the week after that, and we played a little bit more music, and that was the summation of 6 weeks of unsolicited, kind of like, it almost worked, but it didn't, because of those people, the kid is the only one who kind of waves every now and again as it goes past, and I give him a wave, you know, hey, how you doing? And that was it. I invited my relatives over. I had one, my nephew came over, a motorcycle buddy came over, and then a friend of mine who lives in the neighborhood came over. After I had to actually text several times during the week and remind them the day of that I was going to do this, kind of like I was begging, really. It was very weird. I felt like I was hosting a bridal shower where I had to beg people to come to just hang out. But once they came, it seemed to be enjoyable. But that whole like burden of stuff, it's like, you know, I don't know what's going on. And so again, 6 weeks I did this, really nice spreads, and I put a significant amount of money into this. This is several $100s worth of food over the course of these weeks, and time, etc. And most of the time I was spent by myself, spinning records in my driveway by myself with no one around. Oh, I knocked on my direct neighbor's door, and they kind of said something like, and they never shut up. And I don't know what to say other than this. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Like, let's imagine I'm some kind of repulsive, unfriendly person. Like, it doesn't make sense. And so what I'm saying is that I think that the phones are corrupting how we talk to each other, and even the idea of talking to someone is so, like, the phone doesn't allow it. The phone is jealous. It wants your attention. And we know this. We know it's programmed to do this. We know that it takes certain steps that are not a mystery, you know, that you can control information flow. You can have these sticky apps and these sticky communication patterns that keep people connected. But the issue is that even when someone puts the phone down and sees a real person over there, there seems to be a hesitation. There's like a transition time, and even if you're able to broach that, like with the young boy listening to music, like he was like this, like playing his whatever, and I mean, it's good music, but that never came back enough to broach, like he never said, hey, are you playing the stereo again, you know, or let's do that again, that was awesome, or anything like that. Nothing. It was just like silence, like dead. And my presumption is that what happens is that people are on their phone and they're communicating to their phone, they're bonding to their phone, and it's not their fault. They're being programmed this way. And then even when they put it down, the subroutines are running in the back, keeping them from having true engagement. And then when they pick the phone up, they're like, oh yeah, it's kind of like going back home. This is my observation. I'm sure there's I know that Jonathan Haidt, Heidt, has a book coming out talking about this. And you know, my point isn't to be scientific. My point is to be anecdotal, but very specific. You know, in my journeys, I have read hundreds of medical articles, placebo-controlled, double-blinded trials, etc., etc. And so I know very well about the scientific method. My point is that I'm providing, just watch my videos to see if you believe that I'm, full of it. And, ask yourself, reality test, whether you think I'm fibbing to you, because the odds are you are likely experiencing this on your own to a certain degree. And it's probably, some degrees, in some points, it might be so frightening that you just don't even want to talk about it anymore. You just go back on your phone. I know in my family, my kids are really sensitive about stuff. So the phones are like, it's like they're grown into their hand. It's really bad. And there's coping mechanisms that they've adopted to, eat and go to the bathroom. But for the most part, they are nodes on the phone network. And it's bad because I miss their truer selves. And I know that you probably experience this too, but the point is, what better humanity are we missing? Are we not engaging with? I've gone on a phone diet, for lack of a better term, and as a result of that, I don't have any friends. I'm out here literally in the wilderness, but I have just a very tiny handful of peripheral acquaintances who are friendly with me. And I reach out to them, and it has to be by text primarily, not voice comm. And it's just very weird. It's very weird. It's like life without the phone is crap, and you better have life with the phone because we said so, and we control everyone else around you. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. I do not think that is not an exaggeration. We are just nodes on the network. Insert paranoid gasp here. And the question is, why? Well, because parts of our humanity have been bastardized, pimped, to serve this thing. If you pull back, and this is a crazy example, but if you were to go to a grade school, say a fifth grade school, a class of fifth graders, 30 fifth graders, and you give them all cigarettes, and you make them smoke those cigarettes, a certain number of those kids will actually have the beginnings of an addictive process right there. And of course this is absurd, and everyone goes, oh, well, we shouldn't do that. Oh my God, lung cancer, blah, 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 right? This is an established fact, right? But if you give that same group of 30 fifth graders an iPhone, almost immediately, their humanity is drawn to the blinking lights and to the lie that their friends are on the other side. So you could take a group of kids and just shatter their socialization, their natural socialization, by just giving them phones, just blinky lights, even if they didn't work, even if they didn't communicate, right? So let's not BS ourselves and say like, oh, I don't know what's happening, it's such a mystery. No, just pull back. And it's not your fault, and it's not their fault. Humans are attracted to blinky little things with images of other humans. This is not the mystery, right? So when people say, oh, it's a tool for communication, yeah, exactly. But you're communicating nothing or very little because you're not actually emoting in time with actual real things. It's the junk food of the communication world. We all know this. I'm just saying it really plainly because, dude, I'm dying out here, and it's bad. It's bad, and I'll have to join the network to meet people, And I have mixed feelings about that, obviously. It's mess. It's a mess. It's just a mess. And I think we all have stories that highlight this. And I just wanted to speak plainly about it because, if we're all more upset and more negative than we've ever been, and that's what the data shows, and that's what my experience shows, and I'm pretty sure that's the case for you too, then let's not BS ourselves what the problem is. I have someone in my life who says, the joke is like, I've got a headache. Well, it might be the nail in your head. Well, yeah, it's probably the nail in your head, right? So, and people are like, oh, you're just overreacting. You're just an old fuddy-duddy, but it's the fuddy-duddy who knew what it was like beforehand and knows what it's like now and what it could be. I'm like an ambassador from a time when humanity counted, when actually collecting your thoughts and communicating to someone face to face was of value and meaningful. A time when news, it may not have been any more trustworthy, but it didn't change on a nanosecond basis. You read the newspaper in the morning, that was it, you're done. And or you turn on the radio and then you could turn it off, and the radio didn't know what you were listening to. The radio didn't know and didn't change its programming for what you were listening to next. Like the young boy who came by and listened to the music, he was using a music streaming service. Well, that means that someone somewhere knows what he was listening to and for what duration, and blah blah blah. And who knows what the trigger of events, or what events were triggered during that whole communication profile that then was altered something else in his future. Maybe he should just have a musical appreciation moment with no one knowing anything about what he listened to, right? You've heard me talk about the third man, but the concept that someone is always watching and listening, and somehow or another this is good, and these euphemisms, or not euphemisms, these kind thoughts that we tell ourselves, that we fool ourselves into thinking, oh, it's good, if you have nothing to hide, then what does it matter? Or they're working on our behalf, blah blah blah. But somehow or another everything's being diminished, and actual true communication is not encouraged, it's not enabled, and it's not even sought. And that's probably the biggest one. This is not even like a thing, right? And that most of us have some kind of face-to-face communication on the rarest of occasions, and within codified, controlled environments, grocery store, cafe, gas station, whatever. And the degree to which someone is not on their phone is the degree to which they are more human and more friendly, generally speaking. And it's bad. It's bad. It's like there's no connective tissue, or our connective tissue is being attacked. And hey, that's our connective tissue. That's us. That's us. And we need to be us. Like my life has meaning to me as it is, and as I share it with the people in my life. Not, look at that. Right? Whose life is it? Well, it's your life. It's my life. Yeah, well, we need to recover that. We need to take that back. And I think that one of the first steps is just saying, hey, it's my life. It's my communications. It's my privacy. It's mine. It's mine. Go screw yourself. It's mine. And don't kid yourself. Like, in one of my other videos, I talked about, like, good food, good company, good loving, and good times in nature as being an RX for America. And think about what stands in the way. And I called it the unspoken intermediary, but now it has a name. I wanted to say it then, but I just wanted to provoke thought. Because the first thing that pops up in your mind, like if you were to see me in your neighborhood, and I was your neighbor a couple doors down, and I was out on my driveway and I had a nice set out, the odds are that you would drive right past and you go home and you wouldn't even think of it, right? And it's not a criticism of you, it's just this is where we are. It just these little silos and bubbles, and we say to ourselves, well, it's safer this way, or I don't know that person. Well, who plants those ideas and thoughts? Your stupid little phone. Actually, it's very clever. plants those things and reaffirms those things. The concept of reality testing, like, can you determine on your own who to talk to and why you want to talk to them? Even that question is undermined by the little phone. Ask yourself, can you determine? And it's kind of like, well, you can never trust anyone. Well, who tells you that? The phone or people on the phone, which therefore reinforces the separation, the shattering of this connective tissue, which is face-to-face communication. Real words coming out of real people in real time. It doesn't have to be a earth-shattering, a life-altering experience, but we don't got that. And probably the closest we have is some form of customer service, and that person is doing it maybe out of genuine intent, but it's it's coached. I don't care, and I go to the Starbucks drive-through line. I want some nice service, blah blah blah. But it's bad, meaning we're losing our humanity. Excuse me, we have lost much of our humanity, and I think that where we see this the most is folks like me who just like out in the wilderness here. Again, literally. Why? It's bad. It should be much, much better. And I know that my videos are seemingly complaining about everything, but again, I am the old canary in the coal mine, and I'm saying, hey man, there's a foul stench here, and don't kid yourself. It's just bad. It's just bad. I've talked about, who's in your mental house. And that's the whole point, is that you should own your mental house, and that those things that corrupt your mental house are even there without your invitation are guests that should be kicked out. Just kick them out. Just clean the house. Clean the house. And I propose that one of those things is your phone. Turn it off. Just turn the phone off. Turn the phone off. Go through the transition period. There will be an awkward transition. You'll be bored. You'll feel lonely. You'll not even know what to think or feel for a while. But then start to trust yourself, because it's your life. It's my life. It's our life. Maybe we'll see each other on the street. We'll shake hands. Appropriately so. And and maybe we can return to being more of a humanity that's human with each other, and that we could have a good time together without always thinking of sharing it online immediately, or thinking that someone's going to vote it up or vote it down. F you, man. Yeah, vote this up, vote this down. Come on. That's another topic. If I were to invite people in my life out here to do this, most of them would say no. Most of them are under iPhone influence, or some scheduling conflict or something like that, and that might be their personal thing. But if they had their phone off for a week, I bet the odds would double the fact that they would enjoy coming out here, truly enjoy, not just for my sake, truly enjoy coming out here and experiencing a fire on the top of the mountain. And I put the videos online because I think it's a beautiful experience that people should think about having on their own and sharing on the screen. But the real dope is reality. I've got another story to tell. I like to go to Sedona, and I call it Terrorize the Tourists, because I used to go by dirt bike or Africa Twin or the Quad or something, and zip by the tourists who are got their new Jeeps and such. And it's just a little thing. I play the old man on the mountain, a friendly man on the mountain, I might say. And so I'm at the parking area at this beautiful route, this beautiful tourist route up in the mountains, like just this gorgeous red rocks, and people pay to sit in the pink Jeeps and go up here, right? And so I'm at the parking area, and I'm not interfering with this Jeep. I'm not interacting with them at all. And they go past, and there was a group of 4 people, like the mom or nanny, young mom, young nanny, and like elementary school kids. I think a couple, I think there were 3 girls, like 10, 8, and 7 or something. And the kids were hanging, like they were looking around and like, wow, this is awesome. And the mom was on her phone like this. And we're talking like 10 out of 10, views right there in real life. And I watched and I said, well, maybe she's like, checking something important. No, dude. She went up, she started, go up, passed, she was on the phone. She is the victim, okay? Okay, remember the discussion of the fifth graders with the smartphones? You give them the smartphones and you can't take it away from them. It's because it's an inherent addictive process. That woman was victimized by her phone, okay? The kids were victimized by the phone because they weren't interacting with their mom during this wonderful experience. Use the phone to snap a few pics, off, put it away. Done. It's robbing life from people, and people are like, well, I want to have my life robbed. That's the conditioning. That's the conditioning that goes on. There was another thought I was going to say about this. I sold in the addictive space for several years, so I know something about the addictive. I'm not an expert. I'm just a little bit above, kind of between expert and know nothing. Right. So another example of an addictive property, an addictive part of humanity that we control, we define, and we prohibit from children. Casinos. Now, a casino is a building that has flashing lights and this and that. The casino is designed to keep you in there, right? The flashing lights, well, because people are attracted to flashing lights, much like the phone, right? And much like the phone, you interact with them and they give you intermittent rewards, right? Same with the one-armed bandit, the cards, all this stuff. But when you look, the casino is draped in gold and thick carpet because all of that energy and life experience of those people is being drawn away. The casino didn't make that money. They stole that money through a well-known process called gambling, right? Now, we allow this as a society, but why do we allow that same kind of process in between ourselves and for our kids? It's nuts. It's nuts. It's nuts. I would support an age restriction on smartphones, period, end of story. But I'm just a crazy guy out here in the wilderness. But think about it. Would you give your kids, $50 and to go to the casino and just have unrestricted access to the casino? No one would do that because there's social pressure to say, oh, you're a bad parent. You're introducing them to this addictive process. How dare you? The government would come involved. Take your kids. Give them a smartphone. You're a freaking hero. And all the other moms and dads, everyone has a smartphone. Nuts. So I'm just calling it out like the nuts it is. How can you say it's nuts so many times? Please listen and do. Come out here, hang out with me, have a good time. Have some oranges. I don't know. It just seems like, I watch these YouTube videos of people who are saying what I'm saying, and these charts and graphs and stuff, but I just don't hear the heat behind it. I have, unfortunately, actually lost people to the smartphone revolution. I mean, they're alive, but they're not themselves. So, hey, that's great. Hey, I can text them. I can WhatsApp them. No, dude. No. There's good things and there's counterfeit. Life is real. Don't put up with the counterfeit. And at some point, there has to be a social threshold where we all come to the realization that, hey, turn the phone off, look around. Life is right here. People like me are hanging out here waiting hey man, I'm not gonna do Facebook or Instagram because that's playing the game. I do YouTube because once the videos are up there, they're relatively non-engaging. There's no back and forth, and you can put the comments on there, but I'm not gonna, I like it because it's like an encyclopedia. You just put it up there, it just kind of sits there. And with my stuff, very few people see it. I don't want to have the views. I want people to see it and change. That's what I want. I want people to see that there's some dude talking about this in a semi-coherent manner. Actually, I shouldn't say, I say, you know, my stuff is pretty good. My stuff is really good, actually. This is like doctorate level stuff that is real, because I mean it. And as a former professional, you know, I have some chutzpah, some gravitas behind this that you know, you can't buy. And you know my opinion on fancy editing. It's like, just give me the good stuff, and this is the good stuff. I know I'm rambling on. Hopefully I'll probably cut this out. Anyway, so nice out here today. It's like 50 degrees or 50, 60. So nice. Oh, the other thing about turning your smartphone off is having the experience that you don't expect. So when people are on the phone, everything is within a well-controlled environment. But how do you experience something you've never experienced that's positive? Well, you don't know until you experience it. Does that mean that I advocate for kids to go in dark alleys and you know, wave money around? No. But things like this, you see a video of this, you might say, oh, that's pretty, or that's unique, or you might hear the wind and see the clouds and think, oh, that's threatening. But when you're here, you can feel it. And you can't feel that on a phone. It doesn't come through. I get frustrated with my videos because out here, I mean, this is just like the magic, and it's frustrating because it only partially translates on the GoPro, and I know I'm not unique to that, but it is a little frustrating because this is like being here now is like going to one of the world's most awesome museums, and I can see beauty right here and feel beauty and interact with it, touch it, feel it, smell it, burn it. And in some ways it's mine. Whereas you can't, so much of life for a person on their iPhone is controlled environment and no productive chaos, no anarchy involved. You know, one of the lessons about being in nature that you're never going to learn on your phone is that there's harmony and danger and beauty right here. And you're never going to experience that in this environment, except for being in this environment. And it is good. So if you, for instance, you know, read 2 chapters in your physics book as a student, and then you close the book or close the iPad, and then you go have dinner, these are all experiences you've had before. But you come out here and you can see the physics at work. If you're writing poetry and you write a poem and you close your iPad or your journal and then you go do something else, well, these are all known experiences. You have your poetry, you come out here, you feel the poetry of this, and it stirs your heart and your body and your mind in ways that you simply cannot have at the gym or the sauna, or, you know, turn on your natural gas fireplace or whatever at home. And that's why I love to get out here, because this is such a good, positive environment. I tended to call it cleansing, but it's not cleansing. It's like the other experience. And your phone is keeping you from this for the most part. You know, it's reinforcing itself, just like gambling. When you go to the casino, everything is designed to keep you there. Everything is an enemy. But it's painted in shiny colors and bright little lights to take advantage of your humanity. So anyway, I think I'm rambling on too much. So I wish you well. Live free, be free. And turn your phone off. Turn your phone off. Like, be your own person. Please. All right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to stir the fire. I'm going to have a good time. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.